And we are live. What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's your boy Kush here with OGR Sports One Giant Rebuttal back on the channel. Work with this guy quite often, to be honest with you. Great dude.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
It is kind of, you know what? Nah, it would be ridiculous if we were out here putting out boring and bad content, but we're not. So that's why it's not ridiculous. How you doing, OGR?
I am doing phenomenal. You asked me that question in the middle of a sip, man. You can't do that. You can't do that.
I had to because you're out here drinking Corona while there's Rona out. Let me stop.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. You've got to be careful. If you want to talk about it, it's now 19. Because if you use the other word, YouTube will they will take monetization away.
They're still doing that because they were doing that for a couple months, then they stopped it. I guess they brought it back.
Yes, they did. A good YouTube friend of mine that is also monetized has gotten total monetization taken away on certain videos because of mentioning the Ovid.
The 19. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Edward Chan, Joe, Yato, Afghanistan. How y'all doing? I will only be giving out one mod today then, Edward. I can't give out two. I have way too many mods. I might have to do a mod purge eventually, but it is what it is. Shout out to Amir.
Oh, you dare don't take my mod away. I am going to be a mod on this channel.
Wait, are you still a mod?
I support this channel.
Word, yo, guys, peep the shirt. Look what OGR got on him, yo. Y'all see that? That's what I'm talking about, bro. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Get in here, ask your questions. OGR, you said you wanted to talk about Trevor Lawrence or something. What were you saying?
No, I was actually in the background. I was going to let you know like a couple of things that I noticed about Trevor right off the hop, but
we can still go over that.
So far, if you're watching the game, Clemson's been bailed out twice. I don't know if they ended up scoring on their second drive or not. The first drive, they were bailed out by Miami lining up offsides. And what's his name? Brock Rosenhaus, the defensive end that a lot of Giants fans want, lined up offsides, but actually dropped back in coverage and almost picked off Trevor Lawrence.
For a guy who doesn't watch college football, Brock Rosenhaus on what team?
Miami.
Okay.
And he almost intercepted the ball. Pretty athletic play, and he unfortunately lined up offsides. But Trevor Lawrence the whole time staring down his wide out on the outside. Like, you know, a lot of things that people were knocking Daniel Jones for. Now, Trevor Lawrence is a better athlete than Daniel. I will say that, even though Daniel's a good athlete in his own right. But there's just things I see in Trevor Lawrence's game that he's not going to be this Patrick Mahomes-esque type player, you know, that a lot of people want him to be. I think a lot of people want him because they look at him and they say, you know what? The Giants can start winning and building at the same time. And I just don't think that.
A lot of people want him because, full disclosure, like you guys know, I've said a couple times, I don't watch college football like that. But obviously, since I'm within the football world, I guess certain things comes to my ears, certain news I hear of, you know what I'm saying, certain things about certain players I still get to. It's funny. First, I'm going to talk about how you said DJ is a little bit more athletic than Trevor. It's funny you say that because I've
No. I said Trevor's more athletic than DJ.
Yeah. Trevor's more athletic than DJ. It's funny you say that because I've seen other people saying the opposite. That's why I said DJ is more athletic than Trevor. I've seen some people say that Daniel Jones is faster than Trevor, that Daniel Jones moves more agile than Trevor, which I can't directly speak on. I'm just bringing it up to you. I'll get your opinion on that. And then also, another thing I've seen, kind of a criticism on Trevor Lawrence over the past couple of weeks since he's just been in Giants media a lot more, is that he hasn't progressed at all since his rookie year. He's still the same quarterback he was his rookie year. What do you say to those two statements?
Well, first, I didn't watch him enough in his freshman year to comment on that. So I know he's gotten slightly better. But the two games that a lot of people like to point out is in his sophomore year, Ohio State and then LSU, where he didn't have the greatest games and he was below 50%. See, it's hard for me to judge Trevor because he's going against not very good competition. Like Miami is the best competition he's gone through in the last 3 weeks. And the guy's has a 70% completion percentage. If he was playing Penn State's defense every week, like which Penn State was the number one defense, I believe, in the country last year, very close to it. Okay, it might be a different story. I'm not saying that Clemson wouldn't have won, but I'm just saying Trevor's got some holes in his game and he's got to improve, and he's not going to be this be-all, end-all that a lot of Giants fans are expecting once he, comes in.
He hits the pros.
Yeah.
And it's even worse for him this year in terms of trying to improve because of everything that's going on. We don't know if their training is still the same. I just think it's just going to be a hassle no matter what because of the current 19 situation. Joe Yado says people want Lawrence because the so-called experts say he's good. In college, he's good. In the pros, we don't know. I agree. You never know what's going to happen.
I'm going to give Trevor Lawrence, 2 years to prove me wrong in the pros. And I shouldn't even say prove me wrong. I'm just going to say I'm not going to sit there and be on the let's say we get the number one pick, because that's the only way we're getting Trevor is if we get the number one pick. If we do get the number one pick and we draft Trevor, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, we got Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to be like, okay, cool. Let's see what this kid's got. And then Daniel will subsequently be traded away, but I will be rooting for Daniel Jones no matter where it goes.
I do think that Daniel Jones is going to succeed in the NFL, whether it's with the Giants or not. And the same thing for Joe Judge as well, because somehow, some way, Giants fans are already getting on Joe Judge, which makes even less sense than them getting on Daniel Jones. But it is what it is. Edward, whoa, we got to address Edward here. He says he just wants to say this. Garrett's play calling isn't bad. I've been ragging on Garrett's play calling since week one. I don't know if I've heard you ragging on him so much, but what do you think about his play calling through the first 4 weeks?
I'm not going to get as bad as say everything's vanilla, but a lot of people have a big problem with the route combinations. Guys, last week there was one play where I think everybody sees it where Caden Smith and Evan Ingram are in the same part of the field. I don't know if they ran the route wrong. I don't know if the route was supposed to be run that way, but to have two guys standing next to each other on a play is not good.
Mm-hmm.
So
what do you think about the fact that do you think that Garrett is just his scheme is too complex for the players right now? Do you think he's running something that's a little too complicated because they haven't had the time to fully tap into his scheme? We talk about they only had maybe 3 or 4 weeks to install the game plan. What do you think it is?
I can't tell you what his scheme is because I can tell you right now it's not Air Coryell.
It's definitely not that.
If he's taking parts of the Air Coryell offense and trying to do what I don't know, is he trying to run Pat Shurmur's offense without
look like that
Pat Shurmur? Because that's what a lot of it. That's what it reminds me of. Except the route combinations are trash.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem. Everybody, I mean, I'm going to sound old, but running a friggin' button hook or a friggin' curl route. But holy shit, man! I mean, everybody running a friggin' curl route. I mean, is it? Can we have some seam routes? Can we have some?
I don't know. One thing I'm looking for. Can we have some rub routes or something that gets the receivers open? Because it seems like he's only relying on the receivers to get themselves open, 100% of the time.
Yeah, and Edward Chan also brings up another good thing, and then we'll get to G-Man Rising. But Edward Chan says his scheme needs a good run game. Yes, it does, and that's why I think you saw a little bit of improvement against the Rams. And we did have more rushing yards than the Rams, and let's hope that continue. I just hope they go with the hot hand. A lot of people this week made a big deal about Gallman not getting enough carries because he was the hot hand toward the end of that game, and they kind of subsequently took him out. Maybe because Devontae Freeman's a better back as far as
Devontae Freeman was more consistent. Gallman got the couple of hot, couple of big gashes, but if we're talking consistent running, it was Devontae.
Yeah.
G-Man Rising over here says Garrett's offense doesn't fit Daniel Jones' strengths. DJ is best in a West Coast offense where he releases the ball quickly. DJ struggles mightily the longer he holds the ball. He also continues saying, hence why we should have given Shurmur more time. Shurmur's offense works better for DJ. I'm going to let you take that first.
Well, it's kind of funny that people are kind of coming where I was last year, where everybody last year was, I want Shurmur gone. He sucks. He can't call a game. And I'm like, hold up. I'm worried about the development of my quarterback. We're not going to win next year regardless, so it's not a big deal if we have Shurmur. Can we get one more year with a guy who trusts in Daniel, who's going to develop Daniel the right way and not make these crazy move, because I don't like just, hiring a GM, getting a coach, firing the coach, then firing possibly or most likely firing the GM. I like continuity, and people are kind of starting to point that out. And I'm like, hey, I was kind of one of the first last year saying, hey, I want
it's recorded and on his channel for proof, guys. I just wanted to point that out. It is on his channel for proof.
You're gonna have to go back. You're gonna have to look at the dates. You probably should organize it a little bit better. But yeah, man, let's hear what you have to say.
On that, I just want to say, I kind of listen. I wanted Shermer to stay, but it was in the most unrealistic way. And I remember when I talked about it, I was like, "This is my pipe dream." And for those of you that don't know what a pipe dream is out there, is basically something that's near unattainable. Hence, why the word dream is in it. My pipe dream was that we somehow keep Shermer on as the offensive coordinator, because I think anybody that watched those games realizes that he was a good offensive coordinator. He was just a terrible head coach, and he really did help Daniel Jones develop a lot. A lot of Daniel Jones' success, a lot of those 4 or 5 touchdown games, 0 interception games, was because he really did he fit so well with the West Coast offense that Pat Shermer ran. But here's the thing. If DJ only fits to one offense, kind of saying what G-Man Rising is saying, that this Garrett offense doesn't fit Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones can't fit to more than one offense, then he's not a good quarterback. It's too early for us to know that, which is why I think we should, wait out the year and see if he fits. But you can't have a quarterback that only fits to just one style of offense, in my opinion, and call that your franchise quarterback. And the same thing can be said for Jason Garrett. If Jason Garrett can't adapt a little bit and, change up some things to fit his quarterback better, then he's not a good offensive coordinator anymore. What do you think about that?
So here's one thing. I'm going to go a little conspiratorial on. So we don't know what quarterbacks fit in what offenses, because we're never going to be in the room to hear what they're doing and whatnot. What I'm saying is a lot of quarterbacks probably only fit one style of offense, and they only play that style of offense throughout their career. Like, how many times have you watched a quarterback go from system to system to system to system? The only person I can think of is Eli, where he went to from Kevin Gilbride's. Basically, I don't know if Gilbride ran an A Coryell, but it was, a longer scheme, big throws down the field. And to the West Coast that Pat Shermer and Ben McAdoo ran. So it does happen, but how often does it happen? I do not know. So I'm going to say, even if you do only fit one scheme, you should be hiring for your player strength and what you have on the roster, and not just hiring just to hire at that point. Maybe Jason Garrett wasn't the right offensive coordinator, and we should have gone with a West Coast style offense, because I think that's what we have as personnel right now.
And so what do you think about when I said if Garrett can't adapt his scheme, then he's not a good coordinator?
Yeah, exactly. And maybe that's what he's having a problem with right now. What he's saying is, I don't know what we're good at, is maybe basically him saying, I'm having a hard time adapting my scheme to Daniel Jones' strengths. And that's possibly what's going on.
Shout out to Dean Robinson in the chat, Harrison Jolly, M26M, Joseph Balby. Welcome in, guys. Let me get to Dean's comment first. He says, I think the Giants win 6 games against Washington, Eagles, Bengals, Cowboys, maybe Browns. That's 5 games you listed there. I'm guessing maybe we beat one of our divisional opponents twice. At this point,
or Arizona,
yeah. At this point, I don't know. It's really too early. Honestly, I said it in my preview video. I was like, I'm gonna go in with the mindset that people are going in right now.
Did you make a prediction in your preview video? I don't know if I remember catching it.
I did. I said, as much as I want to predict the Giants winning, which is the same feeling I had about the 49ers game.
Dude, that's what I said in my 6 things. I do a prediction at the end of that. I said 28-24. I think the Giants score 24 points, but I think because of the down offense, they edge us out, and the defense is the one that
exactly
kind of gives it up.
Exactly, bro. I was like Giants 21-16. I think you have confidence in our offense if you think we're scoring 24 points. We haven't scored over 16 on the season. And you know what? Let me get your opinion on this real quick. I was like, as bad as the Dallas Cowboys offense is, I don't have confidence. As bad as the defense is, I don't have confidence in our terrible offense to score more than 16 points. Because while the Dallas Cowboys defense is bad, the offensive they've went up against have been like all top 10. What do you think about that?
I think it's going to be a combination of both. I think the Dallas defense is that bad where, guys are just going to miss a tackle and maybe Devontae gets to go. What I did say in my preview videos, I do not want Daniel Jones throwing the ball more than 25 times in this game. If he does, it's probably a losing prospect.
I mean, if the run game doesn't get going, what are you going to do, though?
I mean, you can pass to open up the run, but the run, we must have an emphasis on the run in this game. And that's why I've kind of given up doing preview videos, because I found myself saying the same thing. That's why I went to a different format, like saying 6 things or 5 things, because, I can take a little bit and mix and match and come up with 6 things versus, trying to do an entire preview video. I give you, Kid Blue, and anybody else who does preview videos all the credit in the world. But I found myself saying the same thing every week last year.
Oh no, this year I've been basically saying the same thing, just a little bit of different ingredients added in. Somehow, some way, I make it work. You know how it is, bro. I got to make it work somehow, some way. But I agree with you. I've been saying the same thing every single week. I'm like, we got to get the run game going. We got to get more than 50 yards on the ground through running backs. The defense has to show up. The defense has to do what they did last week. Daniel Jones, don't force the ball. Those are literally the points I've been saying every single week.
Yeah, so I kind of just switched it up, 6 things. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. I poach ideas, man. I poach ideas. I mean, in this world, you poach ideas and you're trying to find it. And, I heard some things this week and I'm like, I like what that person's saying. That's going in my 6 things.
It'd be like that, man. Shout out to Nikki in the chat. The first I remember, she says, Hub, OGR. Nice threads, OGR. Yeah, facts, OGR. Where'd you get that shirt, man?
I have no idea. It just one day I went out to my mailbox and there was a package from New Jersey or New York, and it had a t-shirt from the Hub to me. I didn't know it was coming. It was a surprise.
It just happened to be there, bro. Yo,
exactly.
You guys better be checking your mailboxes. Let me stop. M36M said, would have kept Mike Schuller as the OC for continuity. Okay, he's saying, would you have kept Mike Schuller as the offensive coordinator for continuity? For me, honestly, I don't. Did Mike Schuller ever do anything as our offensive coordinator?
Not really. I mean, he was there. Obviously he had input with Shermer, but Shermer was the brains on that operation. Mm-hmm. And that's why I believe Schuller is the QB coach and Shermer is the offensive coordinator over in Denver. So,
hey, actually, that makes a good point. Maybe we should. I'm not saying that I don't prefer our quarterback coach right now, although he's not doing a great job, in my opinion. But what if we did keep Schuller as a quarterback coach instead of offensive coordinator?
See, the problem is I think a lot of people have relationships in the NFL. So I don't see Schuller just being like, okay, I have no problem being demoted from offensive coordinator to quarterback coach, even though that's what he did in Denver. But he's following a coach he worked with because, he's probably saying, well, I myself can maybe never get a head coaching job, but I can get another offensive coordinator job. So I'm going to follow Shermer here to Denver. Denver is not the greatest place. Maybe they promote Shermer to coach and I have an offensive coordinator position or something like that. I think a lot of that happens in the NFL. A lot of people don't think about it that way.
Mm-hmm. Just going down the comments here, Harrison Jolly says, I mean, Shermer made me want to rip my hair out, but his offense helped out DJ and would have been nice to keep him for the sake of DJ. He just sucks so bad at everything else. I agree. And it's kind of like OGR said about Schuller. I don't think Shermer would have liked being told, hey, man, we're going to demote you from head coach to OC. I don't think he would have liked that. G-Man Rising says, I blame Garrett more. You have to adjust around the players. Garrett, to me, needs to know the strength of his quarterback. Daniel Jones doesn't have the arm to gun it down the field. I don't know if I agree with that last statement. I think he has a better arm than people give him credit for.
Yeah, I mean, his accuracy down the field last year was among the best out of any quarterbacks in the NFL, analytically wise. So I don't know what they're talking about. I mean, yeah, there's certain times where balls are underthrown. I watched a couple balls being underthrown by Trevor. Is anybody saying, oh, Trevor Lawrence doesn't have an arm?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Shout out to John Doe in the chat as well. He said, I said Don. He has the new profile picture up here. He says, our offense is Daniel Jones. That's it. Whoever else shows up, it will be a 1 week wonder. It's kind of crazy the fact that that's kind of how it is, man. Where's Darius Slayton, OGR? What's your opinion on Slayton so far?
He's currently in his turtle shell, and he's waiting to come out.
Where's your Darius Slayton jersey, man? I haven't seen you wearing it in a while.
I actually wore it last week for last week's game.
Okay, bet.
I'm gonna switch it up this week. I think I'm gonna put the Strahan on for tomorrow's game.
Not even a current Giants player jersey? Are you so ashamed?
No, it's not even that. I'm ashamed. The only 3 jerseys I own are Barkley, which I don't feel comfortable wearing his jersey when he's injured. Slayton and Strahan. So,
are you ever gonna get a Daniel Jones jersey?
I think the next jersey I'm gonna get. Something happened with Kid Blue's jersey, so I gotta figure out how to get him a Gates jersey, but he's gonna get a good Gates jersey by the end of the year, so I gotta do something with that. But I'm thinking of probably gonna get Andrew Thomas, but people's Andrew Thomas's comments. Hey, have you heard this yet?
What?
I'll let we'll finish up. Or we finished up on what we were talking about before.
The only other comment I had to get to next was Nikki, and she was talking about the game, which we haven't really talked about the game yet. Getting to talking about Cowboys.
People are already starting to give up on Andrew Thomas. Like I'm already starting to get comments. Yo, that Sewell kid looks really good. That Sewell kid in college looks really good.
Are you sure they aren't talking about Sewell to come in and like basically, have the tackle duo of Thomas and Sewell?
Yeah, but have Thomas move over to the right tackle.
Well, I'll say this, right? I think it's stupid if people are actually giving up against on Thomas, because despite what his PFF grades say, you got to think about the competition he's been up against. I think he's been the best rookie tackle in the league, and honestly, he's been a really good tackle in general. From what I've heard about Sewell, obviously, I don't know that much about him. Everybody's saying he's literally the best tackle to be coming out of college in like the past 10 years. If he is that, and the Giants do get him, I think it does make sense to, if he is the best tackle to ever come out, then put him at left and Andrew at right.
I have a hard time believing that he's like the best tackle coming out, because that's all I heard is people rant and rave about Andrew Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And then how he didn't give up this and he didn't give up that. And, they ranted and raved about Becton, and they ranted and raved about the other kid there that I can't think of right now. Wirfs, and then the other one there, the one that went to Wills. So it's like all these guys, this is the best tackle class in 10 years. How does it go from the best tackle class in 10 years is we need a tackle
to the next? That's what I was saying too. I was asking the chat that because everybody was telling me that Penny Sewell is the best prospect ever, and I'm like, well, didn't we say that last year about these guys, and even that the year before about Jonah Williams? Like, or have we not been saying that for like every single year now? So I'm like, how good is he actually?
Yeah, and the other thing is, I think people have this grass is always greener concept, especially in Giants Nation now, and I've really started to know now, where they like to root for the unknown. It's like, okay, well, we should go get Trevor Lawrence. Well, can we let people develop? It's like in the day and age, people want instant gratification. If you don't come in and produce to your potential off the hop, people just want to give up on you. That's just what people want. Like, people want instant gratification, and they're not getting it, and they're just like, okay, well, the grass has got to be greener. And they're just looking for anything, any avenue, and it's not true.
It's literally, I feel like some of them got that's desperation. It's like they're so desperate for anything that they're rooting for something that they don't know. Like, they don't know if it's going to be bad. They don't know if it's going to be good. So you know what? It's 50-50. I'll go for this.
Yeah.
Nikki's comment here real quick. She says, this week's game will come down to time of possession. If our offense can't stay on the field, then our defense will get gassed. Thus, we lose. Which I was telling OGR earlier, man. Can you blame me for not having any confidence in our offense right now?
I have a little bit more confidence in you. I've seen I've seen like bits and pieces, flashes here, flashes there. Like, not so much 49ers game, but you saw flashes in the Pittsburgh game. You saw flashes in the Chicago game. You saw flashes in the Rams game. Granted, it's for a quarter or a half a quarter, but you've seen stuff and you're like, okay, they can move the ball. They just got to put it together. To me, it really is consistency. I think a lot of people are saying, they're just saying they're just writing off COVID and everything. They look how all these other teams like KC and Baltimore and all these other teams are able to move the ball.
It's funny, by the way, that they're cherry picking those specific teams, OGR.
Yeah, but it's just like you see those teams and you have to understand the system's been there. It's been there for 3 years. Like, everything is brand new on this team. Everything's shiny. Not everything shiny is going to work coming right out the couch. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree with you completely, man. They're really kind of forgetting the context of the situation. Here's what I can't blame. I can't blame fans getting angry, fans getting sad, fans getting tired of losing. I low-key can blame, though, if you're disregarding everything, the context that you just said, and you're giving up on the players, you're giving up on the coaches. That's kind of hypocritical of me because I've kind of already given up on Garrett. But I did say in my last video, I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt. He has one more chance to prove me wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Don't give up on Garrett. Please be patient and use the entirety of the season. Because if we go out and put up 25 against the Dallas Cowboys, you're going to be walking away feeling good. And if the concepts are good, you're going to be like, you know what? Maybe I rushed to judgment on Garrett. Now, I'm afraid of the latter, and I'm hoping this doesn't happen. The Giants need to produce at least 20 points for me. At least 20 points.
For you, just for you to feel comfortable with the offense.
Well, no. Just so I don't have to hear the backlash I'm going to have to hear. Because
Mhm.
if you are any sort of a positive content creator, as I view myself somewhat, my God, me, you, Kid Blue, TSR, we're going to get destroyed. We are going to get destroyed. I mean, I'm afraid. Because being positive in this time is not what people want to hear. It's not.
It's because they want change once again.
Oh my God.
It's like I don't know if you caught my skit this week. I managed to squeeze one out, another Zoom therapy skit. It's like my friend's character in there. He was just going ballistic, not specifically on the Giants, but on the NFC
No,
East.
I watched it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ligma in the chat, shout out to Ligma. He says, "What do you guys think about Ryan Lewis shifting it to the defense?" Which, by the way, the defense have been. I'm so proud of this defense. If there's one part of the team I love more than anything else right now, it's how much I love the defense.
So, yeah, I love the defense, and let's keep it up. But let's face it, we're going up against another tough competition here. Probably the best wide receiver group we've gone up against.
No, it is. It is not probably. It is.
I mean, not so much asking a lot out of James Bradbury, but we're asking a whole lot of Darnay Holmes. I'm curious to see how Darnay Holmes holds up in the slot, because at some point he's going to go up against Amari. At some point, well, he's definitely going to be going up against CeeDee Lamb a lot. So
I think him and CeeDee are going to be matched up more than any other matchup.
So I'm curious to see that for sure.
What do you think? Do you think he could hold up against CeeDee though? That's going to be the rookie matchup of the game.
Man, put it this way: if he can hold CeeDee to less than 75 yards, I'm going to consider that a win.
Okay. You know what? I can see that. I just want to say to answer Ligma, my thoughts on Ryan Lewis. Listen, last game he had a great game because he definitely performed better than anybody else expected him to perform. I mean, this was a dude that we got off, I think, of the Dolphins practice squad, and he was serviceable. If he can be serviceable for the rest of the season, I'll be happy with that, because it's not like he has high expectations coming in. So I mean, that's all we really could ask for. You know what I'm saying? Going back to I was saying earlier, how much I love the defense. Can you imagine how much better we'd be if we had a number 2 corner, OGR?
Oh my God. I'm not saying we'd be shut down, because we still are missing a consistent pass rusher, like one that, we're missing our Khalil Mack, if you will. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I've been pretty proud of it. I did say this week, though, the one guy that needs to step up, and a lot of it's been because he hasn't been getting a lot of snaps, but he will be definitely getting a lot this week, is Marcus Golden.
Hey, listen, I'm glad you brought him up. And you brought up the point he hasn't been getting a lot of snaps. Oshane Ximines is officially out for 3 weeks, I think, with a neck injury. Here was my thing before Oshane went out. I wanted Golden to have snaps over Oshane from the moment the depth chart came out. And then about 2 or 3 weeks into the season, Oshane's not doing anything. You're not seeing Marcus Golden on the field. He hasn't seen nearly as much snaps as he had week 1. And I'm like, yo, put Oshane on the back burner. Let Marcus go on there and wreak havoc. And you saw it when he came in last week. He came in for the Rams on his first snap. He had that monster tackle against the running back. He was producing immediately. What are you expecting? Not what do you want from him, but what are you expecting from him now that he is going to get more snaps?
I expect what I saw last year. A guy that can give you somewhat consistent pressure, a guy that has that constant motor that will sit there and not give up on the play. The guy at the end of the day is trying to earn himself a long-term contract, and I said it in my video. If you want this long-term contract, I'm not saying the Giants are going to give it to you, but go out and earn it.
Real quick, I just want to say this right here because John Doe's talking about Penny Sewell. He says, I would not give up on Thomas, but Penny Sewell is a monster, and he got a Heisman vote, which Thomas didn't. Here's my thing. Guys, Thomas was in much tougher competition for the Heisman last year. I think we forget Joe Burrow had the greatest, college football quarterback season in the history of all college football. So it would make sense if Thomas didn't get a Heisman vote then. What's the Heisman competition looking like now? I don't know. But I would assume last year was way tougher. Do you know anything on that, OGR?
Well, I know John Doe is imploring me to watch Penny Sewell tape and see what it is. John, and the thing is, everybody's down on Thomas, man. Kid's been in the league for 4 years. You know what? If Penny Sewell can come out and beat Tyron Smith the first day.
Who, by the way, is also offered the Cowboys.
Yeah, so if he can beat Tyron Smith and be that stalwart at left tackle for the next 10 years, great. But that's where everybody was telling me about Andrew Thomas. So I'm going to have my reservations about Penny Sewell until he does it in the NFL. Period.
And here's the thing. I still think that Thomas can be that. I don't get why people are giving up on him. He hasn't shown me anything that says he's not going to be the stalwart for the next 10 years.
His feet.
Come on. That's going to be fixed. I still think he's our franchise left tackle for the next 10, 15 years.
Me, I don't want to be wasting, as good as Penny Sewell is supposed to be. I want a pass rusher. I want a defense. I want that monster pass rusher, because you look at this defense and you're like, interior is good. We could use another linebacker, even though Tay Crowder didn't press. We could use another linebacker right next to Blake Martinez,
who's currently, by the way, guys, he's the third best linebacker in the league right now.
And then you go back and you look and you say to yourself, well, we have a bunch of guys that play similarly. Jabril Peppers, McKinney, even Love. We need that true ball hawking free safety. Colbert played well. You didn't hear his name a lot last week, and that's a good thing. So the only play that you could kind of blame on Colbert was that long reception to Cup. And if we're only giving up one bomb a game, I'll take it, considering you look at, Giants last year, the plays they used to give up, or even 2 years ago, the plays they used to give up on the back end.
By the way, shout out to Joseph Clark in the chat. He says this is the week for Marcus Golden. It's the week for him to make a mark. It's set up perfectly for him. Also, another player to keep your eye on, Leonard Williams. Was Leonard Williams not last year not like the bane of the Cowboys' existence?
Yeah, he was. And, he's been performing well. He's been getting a majority of the snaps. A guy I want to see on the field more, and maybe I don't know why they switch out so much. Dexter Lawrence. He's not been getting as much of the snap share as I wanted to see.
They've been I've noticed it. They've been rotating him and BJ Hill and even Dalvin Tomlinson in some sets a lot.
Yeah.
A lot more than I'm comfortable
and
with.
Bringing in Austin Johnson a lot more too.
Yeah. I don't know if
it's not necessarily a bad thing if we look at the game he had last week. So
he did have a wide open lane to the sack. It's not exactly like the dude made a great play or anything, but he did have a wide open lane.
Executing it. 2 years ago, the Giants would have fought. The dude would have tripped wide open lane, and the quarterback would have hit it with a touchdown. So
you know what? I can't even blame you on that. But I will say, yeah, I would like to see my boy Dexter Lawrence out there a bit more. There's a couple of guys who I'd like to see out there a bit more. I'd like to see Dexter out there a little bit more. I'd like to see Marcus Golden out there a little bit more. He's gonna get that chance. And honestly, yeah, that's actually about it. Like, those are the two guys I've noticed haven't gotten many snaps. Shout out to Calvin in the chat. He says, little by little, the Giants are improving on both offensive and defensive lines. Do you guys see Garrett taking more risks tomorrow, OGR?
I don't think tomorrow's the game to be taking risks, because if those risks are completed, yeah, we got points, but we're putting our defense right back on the field. Honestly, I'm not saying I want to play a safe game. I just want Daniel Jones to complete those third downs when need be. I want a heavy dose of the run tomorrow. Not because I don't have trust in Daniel. It's just because I know what type of game right now that's laid out in front of me, and I don't want to get into this, score for score game with the Dallas Cowboys. Not a game we're going to win.
Like I said, if we're going to win this game, it's going to be a game where the defense holds the Cowboys to around 20 points. And for them to do that, they can't be gassed out. So, yeah, I agree with you. I want the offense to be scoring, but let them score on like long-ish drives, medium to long-ish drives. Give the defense a bit of a rest.
The first drive of the game, we're going to get the ball, and we're going to have a 10-minute drive like we did against Pittsburgh Steelers. But instead of ending up in an interception, it's going to end up with a touchdown. And now the Cowboys have 5 minutes in the first quarter to work with. That's what I want.
If that can happen, I just may put on a jersey. I don't know if you know yet, but in all my live streams for like the past 2 weeks, I've neglected to wear a Giants jersey because they haven't scored a touchdown yet, or they just have been playing bad. So if that could happen,
maybe change up the mojo. Jesus.
No, that was the mojo. It actually worked a little bit for the Bears. Shout out to Michael R for the $2 super chat. Thank you for the super chat, man. He says, why is this info about Thomas's foot coming out now? Shaking my head. Well, I haven't really heard anything about it. OGR, you're the one that pointed it out. What can you say? What is the info about his foot?
I heard it from a couple channels. They're just saying that his footwork is not up to snuff. I don't believe that for a second. I just think people are looking to pick on the kid because in Giants Nation, we're looking to constantly, pour more negativity onto this team. That's why I'm like, I can't do it no more. Like, I don't want to be that. I'm tired I'm getting tired of it. I got to put my earplugs in. Look
at it this way.
Certain channels, to be totally honest, like channels I used to support, I completely stopped listening to them.
Just because of negativity.
It's just because of the negativity, it's getting ridiculous.
Here's the thing, guys. I think, listen, Thomas right now, he's performing better than a rookie. Let's call it what it is. He's performing like he's, played the game in the NFL level for a couple years.
Somebody got pissed at me in my comment section and was like, yo, this is why we should have drafted Becton. Like, they look at Thomas as the worst performing tackle because they look at the PFF grades, and I think Becton and Wills are both higher.
Thomas has faced, I'm always going to say this, he's faced way tougher competition in terms of who's going to actually challenge him to get to his quarterback compared to Becton and Wills. I'll say that.
And Becton's already injured. It's like, does anybody take that into account?
Which everybody has said, a concern with Becton is his weight because he falls the wrong way. It's over for his feet.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that, man. Listen, we need to have a bit more confidence in Andrew Thomas. The dude has performed. Like, it's not like he's Eric Flowers out there, and it's not even like he's a little better than Eric Flowers. He's a lot better than Eric Flowers. Thomas is good. He's a good left tackle, and this is him in his rookie year. So you could imagine he could go up.
The problem with the team, though, here's ultimately the problem. And it's funny how we can't run block, but we can pass block. I think Daniel Jones, don't quote me on this, is 10th as far as time to throw in the pocket. He's had 3 seconds or more time to throw in the pocket. That's tops among the league. And a lot of people are like, some of this stuff, I'm starting to say to myself, okay, maybe there is a lot of, maybe it's it's a combination of Line and Daniel, but I can put a little bit more blame on Daniel.
I want to say Daniel's been like one of the most, if not the most pressured quarterbacks in the league. But I like that you brought up the stat that we've had quite a bit of time in the pocket for him to throw. He's been pressured so many times because either of one or two things. A, he can't find a wide receiver that's open, or, the wide receivers are just not getting open, or B, he's staring down one guy and waiting for him to get open. So it is on both, it is a little bit on both Daniel and the O-line as to why he's been pressured so much.
And I think as time goes on, I have a hard time believing the Giants offense is going to be this bad the entire rest of the year.
If it is, it's literally going to be the worst in NFL history if it is.
Exactly. And I have a hard time believing that. I watched the days of Dave Brown and Danny Cannell. Even they had decent games. I just think it's going to come together. It's going to improve. And there's just a whole host of things you can point to on this team. And I'm fine being patient. And I just want to see how the season shakes out, to be honest with you.
I agree with you, man. Shout out to NYG31. He says, "Sup, guys, ready for tomorrow's game?" I think we're ready. I think we're both ready. Toast in the chat. He says, "What's up, guys?" And then he goes and says my entire intro. Shout out to Toast. Quachi. I think I already shouted out Joseph Clark. Joseph Clark saying what we've been saying. Thomas has been dealing with legit NFL defenses for his first 4 weeks. Joe Yato says, "I'm tired of draft off already. Waited, not knowing if football was even going to happen." I agree with you. It's annoying that we're talking so much about the draft in a season where we didn't even know we were going to have a season.
Exactly. And honestly, it's man, I feel bad. I feel bad, Joel, because honestly, it's going to be the talk of the town. Yes, I'll spoil my video. So for tomorrow's video, what I did was I took questions from another YouTuber and I answered their mailbag, essentially. I took some questions I'd like to see, and a lot of them have to do with front office, and a lot of them have to do with the draft, because that's where a lot of Giants fans have already turned their attention. They've already said, you know what, this is a lost season. We can't be competitive. We're going to get a top 5 pick, whatever. Like, a lot of people are walking away and done with this team, I think. And I just think
it's way too early, man. Listen, it is our worst start we've had since 2017, but it's way too early.
Actually, no, it's tied with 2018. In 2018, we started 0-7.
No, that's 2017. That's what I'm saying. That was 2017.
No. I'm pretty sure 2018.
2018, we went 5-11, bro. 2017, we went 3.
No. But we won down the stretch. We started off 0-7 and didn't get our first win until we went to San Fran and Nick Mullins. Odell was
2018?
2018, yeah.
Are you sure that's not 27? Hold up. No, our first win in 2018 was week 3 against the Texans. I'm like 99% sure.
I could be wrong. I might be.
I'm pretty sure we won against the Texans week 3 in 2018. 2017 was when we started off like 0-5 or something like that. You can double check right now.
I'm double checking as we speak.
Let me get back to the chat here. Joseph Clark says, "I think DJ has had time to throw, but the routes and separation have been horrible. I don't give Garrett a full season as offensive coordinator if things don't improve by week 8. If things don't improve by week 8, I'll be super worried on the offensive side. That is.
I know you're right. You're right. We did win against the Texans, and then we proceeded.
Nice. Oh yeah, Joseph Balby just put in the chat. It was 1-7 2018. That was what we started off. So what do you think about this? If the offense doesn't improve by week 8, you're still giving Garrett the full season?
At that point, what are you gonna upgrade Anthony Chaplinsky?
No, I'm not saying like obviously like you're gonna fire the guy, but are you done with Jason Garrett by week 8 if we're still scoring under 16 points?
Man, the problem is, everybody's just gonna be flipping on Daniel Jones at that point. Like, you think the Daniel Jones get the Daniel Jones out of their chance are strong now, man. Oof. I'm not even worried. Jason Garrett's least of my concern because I just want the amount of people flipping out. The Trevor Lawrence chants are going to get louder, man. Jason Garrett at that point is my least of my worries. Like, I'm not trying to downplay it. It's just like, man, it's going to be a mess if that's the case. I'm at a loss for words because I can just see in my collective head.
You can just see fires rising.
Boom, just staring me in the face.
You could just see MetLife Stadium being raided by angry Giants fans. People looking up the address of Dave Gettleman's house and going there.
Yeah,
you could just see it happening. Let's talk about tomorrow specifically, man. We haven't really talked about the game that much. How much do you think Tyron Smith being out is a plus or minus for the Giants right now?
It should be a plus, but we go back to the Pittsburgh Steelers game. That was they were pretty banged up, and that was supposed to be a plus for us, and it didn't turn out to be. So, the
defense has definitely improved since Pittsburgh, though.
No, it definitely has improved, and I'm not counting my blessings, but we should be getting more pressure against Dak. Logically, you would say so,
because the Dallas Cowboys offensive line this year, it's not what it's known to be. You know what I'm saying? It's not that top 5 O-line anymore. I think it's like maybe around league average, maybe even a little bit below. And now with their left tackle out, who I'm pretty sure Smith is what some people consider their best offensive lineman. Now that he's out, you could only assume it's going to get worse.
Yes. And we kind of already touched on it because we talked about, one of my keys to victory is Marcus Golden have a good day. I want Lorenzo to have a good day. I want the whole front 4 to have a good day, or front 3, but
let's just say the front 7, man. What I would give, call me weird, call me superstitious. You guys are not gonna believe this because last night I had a dream, right? I had a dream, and I was dreaming about the game. Yes, sometimes I do dream about Giants football. It kind of happens when a big part of your life revolves around it with the YouTube channel and whatnot. So for some reason, I was dreaming about the Giants versus Cowboys, and it was a good dream. You know what I'm saying? Because we did well.
We win is what I'm gonna ask.
No, could you imagine we tied? We tied 20-20.
Shut your mouth.
But here's the good part of the dream. Somehow, some way, Logan Ryan got a pick 6 on Dak Prescott, and Blake Martinez got a pick that was returned for like 40 yards. All I'm saying is, if we get that, we winning in real life.
By the way, Joseph and Michael are. Guys, I want to watch the people that have been rooting for Trevor Lawrence, the Trevor Lawrence fans, to pull their hair out. I want nothing more than to win this game and watch Trevor Lawrence fans just be like, no, as they watch the Jets go to 0-5.
Listen, here's the thing. We've had that last week. Trevor Lawrence fans in my in the live stream with Kid Blue, it was on my channel. They were quiet the entire game because DJ was being so good. And then they all returned after the pick happened at the end of the game. But for the entirety of the game, the Trevor Lawrence fans, and they were still in there. What happened? Your mic cut out.
Trolls when you do it?
Not really trolls, but they're coming back in saying, "Oh, classic Daniel Jones. Oh, he can't close out the game. Tank for Trevor." Like, these are actual comments that came in. I don't know if I would consider it trolling or if that's actually what they believe, but they were still there watching the stream with me because I could see the viewer count. The viewer count did not change that much. So they were just quiet all the while Daniel Jones was doing his work.
Nice.
John Doe says, Thomas struggled, but Pert looked better than expected in limited snaps. In my opinion, he should get more snaps than Fleming. When Pert was in, we drove up the entire field, and I agree with you. When Pert was in there, the offensive line looked really good. What do you think about the snaps Pert should get this game, or maybe even starting this game?
I'm going to troll a little bit here, but Fleming is our highest graded PFF player. No, but that saying no. I eventually I do want to get Pert in there, and if it arises where you can get him more snaps in the game, let's do it. Let's integrate him slowly, and that's what I think the Giants are going to start doing. I think Pert gets a little bit more time.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they're doing. They started last week. He got like a whole drive. I think he's probably going to get maybe a couple drives this week, but he did look good in limited snaps. Some would argue he looked better than Andrew Thomas. I won't argue that, but he did look good in limited snaps. And I'm not ready to give up on Fleming just yet. I think we all knew Cam Fleming was going to be a placeholder, right? Like let's keep it real. At the beginning of the season,
earned us one channel. I'll shout out. Well, I'm not going to shout out the channel, but the one channel that the people have pointed out on that channel, they've said that Fleming has never earned a job in the NFL, and that is the case. Anytime he's been thrust into the starting role, it's because of injury.
Mm-hmm. So. And I mean that's kind of why we brought him in here. I think everybody knew he's not going to start all 16 games. He's there until the next guy up just gets good enough to be in there. So I mean, and you know what? Fleming hasn't been that bad. You made the joke about it. He's our highest graded PFF, offensive lineman. He hasn't been terrible. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't been terrible. He's been right around smack dab average, in my opinion. Some games he's had times where he looks terrible, but hey, he's okay. He's just like okay. John Doe says Ligma didn't want Trevor. He 100% trolled us. Listen, man, Ligma's out here changing his name to tank for Trevor and stuff. I don't know if that's a troll. If it is, that's next level troll. I'm starting to think he might actually want it.
Who knows? Ligma, Ligma is that keyboard warrior.
Exactly. Joe Yaddo says head coach's first season. Bill Walsh went 2-14. Bill Parcells 3-13. Jimmy Johnson 1-15. Things don't happen overnight.
No, they don't. But you need to have the ownership that's going to have patience to do so. And I'm just saying we could be bringing in a new GM. A new GM might want his own guy. He may convince ownership to fire Joe Judge. Do not discount that. Joe Judge might be one and done. And I like Joe Judge. I don't want Joe Judge to be one and done. I think just like Hub, that Joe Judge will succeed in the NFL somewhere if given the chance.
What do you think about him so far in the season?
I mean,
considering everything,
I mean, the management's been fine. There's nothing I can really nitpick there. Maybe you can question, you go for it on fourth or kick a field goal here and there. But at that point, those are 50-50 decisions. I'm not going to kill a person on a 50-50 decision. But, in his first time out like Pat Shurmur 5 minutes before the end of the game, then okay, yeah. But Joe so far, his management has been good, and his leadership. I mean, guys go out and play for him. Look at the defense.
Exactly. Joe Judge has been good. He's been a good head coach considering everything. If we don't consider everything, then yeah, he's a bad head coach. We're 0-4 with a chance to go 0-5. But you consider the situation. The man had 4 weeks to get his offense and defense installed. The man had 4 weeks of preparation, basically. He's probably now just getting to know his players, like, knowing the ins and outs of his players and whatnot. Like, he's doing fine. We're what? We're like one of the most disciplined teams in the NFL. If anything, he's delivered on that. The Giants barely have any flags and calls on them.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jesse Bryan in the chat. And one thing else I was going to say about the Cowboys game tomorrow, it was because you mentioned Joe Judge. It popped out. Oh, man, I was going to say something, and I was gone from my head. Jesus Christ, I don't know what it is. Oh, wow. It was a good talking point.
Hey, I have a talking point. What happens if, for whatever reason, Joe Judge gets ejected from that game and Jason Garrett takes over as head coach?
Okay, that's like the wackiest hypothetical I've heard in a while.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there just see your response. And
Jason Garrett is the assistant head coach, right?
Yeah, he is.
What happens? I'm gonna be honest. I got no faith in us winning if that happens. Yeah, I got no faith in us winning if that happens. I mean, maybe Jason Garrett pulls something out. You know what I'm saying? He pulls something out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, dude's a good, interim head coach. But I don't know. Like, why would Judge even be called out?
I just wanted to throw that out there just to see how you'd react.
You got to give me something better. Why would Joe Judge be, ejected from the game?
Like he accidentally trips a line judge or something like that, or trips a player or something crazy.
Speaking of ejected and stuff, I'm surprised that Golden Tate isn't like suspended or anything from his scuffle with Jalen Ramsey.
A lot of people did. But I don't think there was enough evidence to, like, you saw the scuffle, but I never saw, who threw a punch or who did what. I just saw a bunch of, it was hard to make proof of that. I mean, I guess the NFL probably has more views than we do, but I didn't there was no like clear cut fight where I could say, okay, this guy threw this punch, this guy threw this punch, this guy and this guy should be, suspended. I don't think it was a very clear enough situation. So the NFL kind of just turned a blind eye into it.
Same thing with Nick Gates versus Aaron Donald. I actually didn't think anything would have come of that, but they fined both guys. What do you think about that?
I think it was well deserved. I mean, heat of the moment, you guys got to be a little bit more professional than that.
What do you think about Nick Gates picking a fight with Aaron freaking Donald?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it too.
You loved it? I was super worried because I'm like, you're picking a fight with Aaron Donald. He could kill you, bro. What are you doing? That was the thoughts running through my head.
My thing is, hey, he did a decent job on Aaron Donald. I wasn't, if you were a Rams fan, you weren't. That was not the most dominant game by Aaron Donald by any means. I mean, he did affect the game, but I got to give our line credit. Aaron Donald did not wreck the game. Their outside pass rush wrecked the game more so than Aaron Donald. I mean, obviously, Aaron Donald had part to do with it, but I wasn't like, oh my God, Aaron Donald's wrecking this game. He's forced Daniel Jones to fumble 3 times and 2 interceptions. Like, nah, man, we were in that game, so.
We were in that game to the very end. And you know what? I'll give the line credit. The jury for me is still out on Nick Gates. And you know what? I'm going to take the stance on him that I've taken on the team. I'm going to give him the season. He is, it's his first year on that position.
Bro, he has it. Like, ask yourself this. Would you rather have Spencer Pulley out there?
Nope. He's the best option we have.
He is the best option we have.
Which is low-key sad, by the way.
Channels have been killing him. And I'm like, what are you watching? How can you be this down on Nick Gates? He's had 4 starts in the NFL at center. And they're like, well, he should be moved to right guard or he should be moved to right tackle. It's like, shut up. Let him play at center. He's been fine.
I'm surprised people haven't brought up Shane Lemieux's name. The guy who everybody thought was going to be the starting center.
What I thought was when we did that whole thing with me, you, and Kid Blue, the tripod.
Yeah.
Shane Lemieux is a right guard. That's what we drafted him to be. That's what he's going to be next year. Mark my words.
But I want us to keep Kevin Zeitler. Kevin Zeitler could still play at a really good level at his age. He's not. I shouldn't even be saying at his age.
Money and how the salary cap is going to stagnate. I agree with you, but salary cap is going to stagnate, and our needs on this team are going to change because I think we're going to have some semblance of an offensive line that we will no longer complain about by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, honestly, to be completely honest with you, this is the first year in a long time that I've only had one complaint about the offensive line. Legitimately, my only complaint about the offensive line so far is that, hey, can you run block? Everything else I'm fine with.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Mark Colombo, given enough time, can put this team into a run blocking unit. Considering a lot of these guys in college, that was their strength. Hernandez, strength. Andrew Thomas, strength. Like, I don't know about Zeitler. I think Zeitler's more finesse as a right guard.
Shane Lemieux, his strength was definitely run blocking as well. I know he's not starting, but, just throwing another name out there.
Nick Gates, if you're going to play at Nebraska, obviously your strength is run blocking. That's like what Nebraska is known for, them in Wisconsin. And then obviously you have right tackle Fleming, obviously not I don't actually know what his thing is, so I'm not actually going to make an assumption on that. So.
Mm-hmm. I just want to point out this really funny comment by John, though, because he says, and it reminds me of the talking point I was going to bring up. He says, Judge hasn't killed our wide receivers yet. He's a better man than me. Wide receiving core, it was below average going into the season, and so far it's just been bad. And, health hasn't helped anything about it. I'm really not a fan of it. And I think it's a bad decision that the Giants are rolling into the game tomorrow with 4 wide receivers yet again. What do you think about that? Yeah. They're rolling into the game. Jordan Rannon reported earlier today, for some insane reason, and I'm really not happy with it, we're rolling into the game with 4 wide receivers again.
Here's the problem. I think Joe Judge relies a lot on our corners to play special teams, and he has no other wide receiver he's comfortable with on the special team group. That's why you're not seeing that 5th guy. I don't like it, but I understand it.
How can you understand it, though, when we've been plagued by injuries? It's stupid. You need somebody there because one person goes down.
It's stupid. I'm not going to sit there and disagree with you, but it's like, to me at that point, it's no, crying over spilled milk. We already know what the thing's going to be. I'm just pissed that Austin Mack and Benjamin Victor and any of these other guys, Austin Dillon, don't get some sort of – are you telling me that Ratley and Board are so far above all these guys?
Yeah, that's what surprised me. That's still surprising me because guess what? Austin Mack has been what you call elevated since last week. He was on their injury report last week, which is why he didn't play. He's not on the injury report this week, but somehow he's not playing. He's not on the practice squad either. They got him in some weird state of limbo where it's like he's not on the practice squad, but he's not on the active roster either.
Yeah, we need 5 wide. We need to go 5 wide. I mean, unless you're going to make Ingram a wide receiver. But no, actually, maybe that's part of the plan this week.
If we make Ingram
Tomlinson also the tight end was called up, so maybe
if we make Ingram, oh excuse me, I just burped. Excuse me, my bad. If we make Ingram the wide receiver, I'll be happy because that means Caden Smith is going to get more snaps at number 1 tight end.
Yeah, I mean the 3 tight end set could be Tomlinson, Tuilolo, and Caden, and you have Ingram at wide out. So 4 tight ends on the field.
That would be very creative. Joe Yado says, okay, how about this? The new guy in New England only signed Cam Newton for 1 year and told the Giants about this guy he was teaching to be head coach. He comes to the Giants and is GM. I'm confused by that.
I think he means by Joe Judge.
By Joe Judge?
Does he mean Joe Judge?
I'm guessing he's talking about Joe Judge. I don't know. That sentence kind of confused me there, Joel, a little bit. I'm not gonna hold you. M2626 says Graham is the assistant head coach. So is it Graham or is it Garrett or is it both?
Garrett, but he could be right. I thought it was Garrett, but he could be right.
Exactly. John Doe says, dude, Gates played amazing. He just needs to hike a little consistently. Donald had 0.5 sacks.
I counted 4 high snaps last week.
Yeah, it was way too much. Like, 1 high snap is too much. To have 4, that's kind of crazy.
But hey, I got to give credit to DJ.
Yeah, none of them went back for a fumble.
Yeah.
Because that same week, Carson Wentz, he dealt with I think 1 or 2 high snaps, and at least one of them went back was like a fumble.
So before this game, I was watching Clemson, or before we went live, I was watching Clemson, and they have a freshman QB that's going to take over for obviously what's his face, and they brought him into the game. The dude's 6'4", 250 pounds, an absolute beast, and obviously probably a rocket for an arm, and he does high snap. Dude jumps up, grabs it, dodges a rusher, and dodges a rusher, just chucks it downfield 50 yards in the air. And, wide receiver had a chance, but the Miami player was able to break it up. But I was like, damn.
Why'd they bring him in, though?
No, because they wanted a different look. They put Trevor Lawrence on the outside.
Okay, well, keep your eye out. Maybe we should be tanking for him next. Ryan says, did you see where I did see this, Shane Lemieux came in as a fullback on 2 plays. That surprised me. I was like, why is Shane Lemieux out there? Then he's lined up at fullback, and you know what? He had speed to him. He did have some speed to him. Hey,
you give any offensive lineman a little bit a 5-yard run, I wouldn't want to be standing in front of those dudes.
What did you think about that? You want to see that more?
Bro, I love a heavy set. Who doesn't love a jumbo set? Let's go.
The one thing that came into my mind when I saw that, though, I'm like, yo, what happened to Elijah Penny? Because Elijah Penny's a good fullback. I'm like, where is he? Well, where is dude? Oh my God, Ligma changed his name to tank for Trey Lance. I don't know who Trey Lance is. I'm assuming he's another.
Trey Lance is the 3rd best quarterback coming out. So right now, the quarterbacks, if you were going to rank them, is going to be Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance.
Which college is Trey Lance at?
The Bison, North Dakota State.
Hey, isn't that Carson Wentz?
Same school as Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I was like, that's Carson Wentz's former school. That was also the Is that not also the school that a dude you were hyped up about went to in Tuska?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say, guys, I was never a believer in Tuska. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Didn't he already isn't he already cut in probably somebody's practice squad?
Yeah, he's on somebody's practice squad. He's not on an active roster as of right now, man. Let's see here. Yeah, people confirming that Graham is the assistant head coach. That's why he left Miami. I would assume it's more than just him being the assistant head coach as to why he left Miami. Joseph says, if we win against the Cowgirls game, then the no names, the Washington no names, that's a good one. We might be winning the East. What do you think about that? Because if we let's get into fantasy land for a second. We win against the Cowboys. Are we 3-4? Because after that, we're playing the rest of the division.
It'd be nice. We'd be at the top of the division. Nobody complained. The Trevor Lawrence cheerleaders would go to the sidelines. We'd be winning. There'd be confidence. I'll take it.
I think we go into the bye week after we play the Eagles, don't we? Let me double check. I want to say we go into the bye week, or maybe there's a game or two. Oh, no, we don't. Fantasyland again. We win against the Cowboys. We beat the Washington No-Names. We're 2-4. We beat the Eagles. We're 3-4. Still in Fantasyland. We go up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What's happening?
We win 4-4. Let's go.
That was when
it's fourth down again.
That was one of the games I actually picked us to win before the season started. Obviously, my confidence in that game is a little bit shaken.
If they keep, having these rash of injuries they do, we have a shot in that game. Tampa
Bay's having. I'm actually unaware of that. What's up with Tampa Bay?
Wide receivers can't stay healthy. Godwin, Evans is hobbled. OJ Howard is, I think, either out for the season or injured. So they've just been battling injury as far as weapons goes for Tom Brady. He's hasn't added consistent weapons.
And Tom Brady also pulled the J.R. Smith on Thursday Night Football. Thought it was for fourth down. Lost against Nick Foles. It seems like there's two quarterbacks he just can't beat.
Nick Foles and Eli Manning.
I'm still convinced that Nick Foles, anytime he plays Brady, it's secretly Eli under there.
Yeah.
Have you seen Eli's Twitter account, by the way?
Which one?
He only has one.
No. Repeat that and hear the whole
Have you seen Eli's Twitter account?
No, I haven't.
Eli's Twitter account sometimes is hilarious and other times it just warms your heart. Because I'm like he hasn't ever had a Twitter account until he retired. And most of the stuff he posts now, it's like, well, I'll tell you what, one of the funny things he posted was a picture of him in his personal gym, and he's working out in khakis. And he, like, I'll tell you what, he looks better than he ever did before, but that's not saying much. Eli kind of always had a dad bod. He was never really like a ripped quarterback. And the caption was like, "I'm working out in khakis, sue me." And everybody's just, laughing along. It was great.
What about I saw something where he was like doing push-ups, or he's doing the 100 push-ups.
It was one of those challenges to help
100 push-up challenge, and the cat was there. So, like licking his face or something. I don't know.
Listen, man, Eli never misses on Twitter. Dean Robinson says, our Giants, Atlanta, Jets, Houston, who gets the number one pick? Yo, honestly, it might be the Jets.
I think it's the Jets right now, unless Atlanta just, the team just completely falls apart. I could see that, though.
I could see Houston, too. It's crazy to think that Houston's also 0-4. Jesse Bryan says, guys, should I start Darius Slayton against the Cowboys defense or CeeDee Lamb against the Giants defense?
CeeDee Lamb
biased. You're saying CD against the Giants?
Yeah. I took out because in one of my, not our league, but my other league, my paid league, I have what's his face? The rookie out of Alabama last year, wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy. I have Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb. I'm constantly flipping them in and out of my flex. Last week I did Jeudy over Lamb. This week I'm doing CeeDee Lamb over Jeudy because Judy's going up against Patriots.
Yeah, for those of you guys that look at stats like I do, you might think it doesn't make sense because the Giants have the 8th overall pass defense. But like OGR said, this is the first time we're going up against 3 legitimate wide receivers that could all be considered number ones. And I don't think the Giants could really hold all 3 of them. One of them is definitely getting loose. It's probably going to be CD. So
I'm going to
but
for him, I'll go CD. But I think it's Gallup.
Also, I mean, not only that, we still don't know how Darius Slayton's going to be used. He just hasn't been used since week 1. So that's another reason you should probably avoid Slayton. Honestly, I would say avoid Slayton until he starts getting involved in the game plan more.
Yeah.
John Doe says, did you hear the rumor that Washington put out that Haskins was benched for bragging he had a 300-something yard game in a loss? I've never heard of it, but in general, what did you think about Dwayne Haskins being benched?
I mean, let's face it. I kind of feel bad for Dwayne. I really do. He hasn't had a fair shot in Washington, but I don't think his mouth does him any favors. I could see, even though that sounds a little foolish, I could see him doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about him getting benched in general, because obviously he's been connected to Daniel Jones basically since draft night, and now that he's benched, he's even more connected to him because that's what everybody's going to be talking about. Oh, Washington benched their QB, their second-year QB that's struggling and they're not winning. Why shouldn't the Giants do the same? So what do you think about him getting benched?
First, and Ron Rivera wants to win, and I think in his eyes, Kyle Allen and Alex Smith give them a better chance to win than Dwayne Haskins. That's why
Alex Smith might not even play though. Like it's the jury's still out on if this dude's ever playing again.
I mean, they're putting him out there. I don't think they're putting him on the sidelines. He's out there with a helmet, as far as I know. I haven't been paying that close attention to Washington football, but are they sitting him? Is he like a healthy scratch every week? Because if he's not, he's out there. And let's face it, Dwayne Haskins is now the 3rd string. Dwayne Haskins might be a healthy scratch on Sunday.
It's funny because as I feel bad for Haskins, I really do, because he hasn't gotten a fair shot, and I think that he deserved to play out his second year to see how he goes, because he has even less stars than Daniel Jones. We always talk about how DJ had 12 stars last year. Dwayne had like maybe 7 or 8, I think. Don't quote me on that. So if anything, he's even more unproven than DJ. But I find it hilarious and ironic because before the season started and when they got Kyle Allen, I was like, Dwayne Haskins, I was always joking that he was the third best quarterback on that team, that Kyle Allen and Alex Smith is ahead of him. But I always meant it as a joke. Now it's like kind of reality.
Yeah.
Joseph Balby says, if we win this game, there is a chance to win those games you mentioned. Not expect them to do much, young team. So, I mean, yeah, I'm going into this game with not low expectations, but like hoping for the best. Because if we hope for the best and the best comes through, that really does a lot.
I'm going into the game last week. I laid out 6 things against the Rams.
What were they, by the way? Let the chat know. What were the 6 things you listed out for the Rams?
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't I don't remember like everything off the bat, but I was like, I want Daniel Jones to have 1 turnover or more, or less. Sorry.
Or less.
Obviously a run game getting going, which they did. Patrick Graham, I need you to be aggressive. I need you to scheme stuff up. He did. Jason Garrett, I'm looking at you to scheme guys open. He somewhat did. Evan Ingram had a better game, even though you're not jumping off the page. And those were some of the things I named, and they came through and did it. And 6 things this week, same thing. Like, I talked about Marcus Golden, Patrick Graham. I want you to stay aggressive. I don't want Patrick Graham to do what James Betcher did, where he's like playing not to lose. I want him to still be aggressive, even though he could be burned by Dallas. I mean, that's just a risk you do against this offense. I want them to play man because that's the strength of our team. I don't want us playing zone. I think, giving Dak time, he'll find the holes in the zone. So I want us to play it man because that's our strength. I want us to play to our strength. So
speaking of man or playing to our strengths, man, let me hear what you think about this dude, James Bradbury, bro. Is it a little too much for me to be calling him the best cornerback in the league right now?
Shh, stop it. It is too much. It is.
But by how much is it too much? Where would you put it?
If James Bradbury at the end of the year is still playing at this level, because we have a whole host of games, then by all means, yes, you can count James Bradbury the best corner in the league because he'll be darn near close, probably defensive player of the year or get close to it. If he's
okay. I think you're misunderstanding. Maybe that's on me. I don't mean best corner in the league as in he's actually the best player at the cornerback position in the league, a la Stephon Gilmore. I meant as in through the first 4 weeks of the season, he's been playing the best at his position.
He's been one of the best. I don't think he's been the best. I mean, there's a couple guys that are kind of graded higher on PFF, but he's
where would you put him? Give me a number or a range.
Right now.
Top 5?
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that we have a top 5 cornerback and top 5 middle linebacker, both in their primes, in the on our defense right now.
Hey, and Dave Gettleman might go, but those guys are here to stay. I'm just saying. What's going on? She Got Sports. No,
shout out to Lauren from She Got Sports in the chat. Lauren, give us what you think about the game tomorrow. Is it winnable? Is it not? Very, very might be winnable.
A score prediction too.
Give us, facts. Give us a score prediction. Shout out to Mikey C in the chat. He says, be easy, Hub, but he's definitely top 5. Tank for Trey Lance, a.k.a. Ligma, says, if we win, I'm throwing KB off an 8-story building. I'm not sure what Ligma has against Kid Blue. But
he's a Dallas fan, and Kid Blue will be disappointed.
You know what? I forgot. Kid Blue is indeed a Dallas fan. It's going to be interesting to see how he calls this game tomorrow.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Is it on your channel or his?
It's going to be on his. So you know what? Yeah, it's going to be on his. So you know what? Guys, keep your eye out. Kid Blue is going to be hiding the star haircut he has on the back of his head. He's going to be hiding his dead throw 'em up X tattoo on his right shoulder. He's going to be hiding his Dak Prescott jersey in the back. He's going to hide it very, very well. Mikey C says Dave Gettleman is not going anywhere. What do you think about that? I actually mentioned that as a joke in my skit.
We got to hit 6 wins. We got to roll it here at the end of the season. I hope you're right because I want continuity.
Look at the schedule right now, OGR, and tell me where you could see 6 wins. Let's start in division. How are we doing in division?
So 2 against Washington, split against Dallas, split against the Eagles. I'll give us either a win against either Tampa or Arizona. We'll win one of those games. We're not going to lose both. And I'll give us a win against not Cleveland. Well, actually, you know what? I'll give us a win against Cleveland. Screw the Arizona, screw the Tampa. I'll give us a win at win against Cleveland and win against the Bengals. And there's your 6.
So you got Bengals, Browns, Washington, Eagles,
Dallas,
Cowboys.
Yeah.
6 wins. All right, listen, it would be great if we could beat. Is it weird that I think we have a better chance against the Bucks than the Browns?
Saying that now, but I don't expect. I expect the Browns to implode. Like there's just too many dynamic personalities on that team for everything to stay straight. And let's face it, they're good one week and then they look like the next. So,
She got sports. She says it's Danny Dimes Day, or it's got to be. He needs to get his confidence back. And yeah, let's talk about that real quick. He looks like he's losing confidence out there. Am I seeing things, or are you seeing the same thing?
I think it is. His press conference the other day. I mean, not the fact that he's chipper in his press conference, anyways, but you can tell like stuff is weighing on him. So yes, she's right. He does need to get his confidence back.
Like even in game, I'd see him. It just looks like he makes a play, it doesn't go right, and then like the dude, like you could see the way he carries himself. It's not like last year where it's like he'd shrug it off a little bit, and a lot of it, in my opinion, has to do with like he knows he's the guy now. There's no Eli anymore.
He's putting on pressure. He's got to let it go and just let it fly.
This is where having that Eli, that short-term memory that Eli had. This is where you need to somehow, some way tap into that. Just forget if you made a mistake early in the game. Forget it. You got to continue to let the ball fly. Edward Shannon there saying we ain't winning. We split with the Eagles. We sweep Washington. We beat the Bengals. Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you hear about this? I discovered this last stream. So Daniel Jones broke up with his girlfriend right before the season started, and we were all out here because we're desperate. We're like, yo, this is why he's doing bad. He's depressed because he broke up with his girlfriend right before the season.
Wow, I feel bad for the guy.
What do you think about that?
Hey, that could be part of it. I mean, hey,
he's a young dude.
Yeah,
he is a young guy. He's still living with his parents. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's weighing on him a little bit more than we say.
Yeah.
She Got Sports says, especially last game, referring to the fact that he does not really have his confidence in him right now. Joseph says, DJ isn't throwing the ball deep recently. He's definitely losing confidence.
Yeah, him throwing the ball deep is not necessarily on him.
That's more scheme than anything. More play calling than anything. And Tank for Trey Lance says he fumbled his girlfriend.
Oh, my man.
The memes that are going to come out of this if it goes mainstream.
Oh my God! The memes that are going to come out, period, man. If things go south in this game tomorrow.
You see, now this is why I never got into the Danny Dimes nickname, bro. I just always call him DJ. It rolls off the tongue a lot smoother too.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, if you guys get any more questions, I'm gonna end it soon here. But pop in your questions. We're gonna be a short stream anyway. Thank you all for tuning in. OGR, any last words before I end it?
Go Big Blue. Let's get this win. Because, I can't, I want to see the win because I just want to see all the Giants fans have their after the game reactions and just everybody just enjoying this win. So let's go get this win. Thanks to everybody popping in and saying hi. Go buy yourself some merch for the hub, from the hub store or whatever. And let's go G-Man.
Hey, wait, before we go, final score prediction.
28-24 Dallas.
All right, for me, it's 21-16 Dallas, but you know what? I'll do anything for it to be 23-21 in the Giants' favor, man.
I hope I'm wrong in my prediction.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong too. Listen, I'll give anything to be wrong. But that's it for now. Thank you all for tuning in.